Good morning. My name is James Little, and my company is Mass Spec Interpretation Services. Wiley has introduced new mass spec capabilities in their KnowItAll software. KnowItAll is a vendor-neutral data processing solution for spectral analyses. I have created a series of training videos for the software which can be found on my personal website. Today I will be sharing a presentation entitled Structure Tips and Structure Searches in ChemWindow. Let's go and open KnowItAll. So I'm opening the software. You go up to Basics on the Function tab on the left side of your screen, and then you can open ChemWindow. The first thing I always check is I go up to Chemistry at the top, and I go and say Add Implicit Hydrogens and make sure Show Implicit Hydrogens is selected. Now let's draw a structure to practice a couple of hotkeys that they use to insert atoms. So I'll draw a couple of aromatic rings together. I'm just coupling the bonds by selecting the alternating double bonds for benzene type structure. And then we'll add some methyls off of this. I've selected the single bond function there. I'll just add a couple to it because I want to show you the different hotkeys that they use for atoms that are very useful for the basic ones. Let me finish just populating these. Then we'll start trying some of the keys. Kind of messed up couple of the single bonds here. If you want to, you can go up to the arrow key and select the structure and go up to Chemistry and say Clean Up. And kind of straighten things out to make it look a little prettier. Let's do carbon first. So if you just go and hover over one of these, you can see with the pointer here, it changes, and you can go to your keypad and put in carbon. It'll put a carbon there. If you just keep clicking on the carbon, it strips off hydrogens if you want to, so you can branch things off of it but show explicitly this carbon. Or you could just leave it as a methyl group off the aromatic ring without any carbon on it. Now if you go to the next one and you hold the Shift key while you push carbon, the C down this time, instead of carbon you get chlorine. So that we're just getting the common ones they have hotkeys for. If you go over to the next one and put H, you get a hydrogen. If you hold the Shift key and put it H, let's see what we get. You get another defined group that they think is useful. I'm not quite sure what that one is myself because it's not a common one for me. Let's go down and try phosphorus, which you just type the P on your keypad. And again, you can click on that by just continuing to type P again. It keeps stripping the hydrogens off if you want to do that. Let's come down to the next one and now type Shift key while we type a phosphorus, and you get a phenyl group, which is somewhat useful. Let's go and do an S. Imagine you'll get sulfur for that. And you do. You get the SH. If you hold the Shift key and type S, you get SiH3, a silicon group. If you type, what would be the next one? Oxygen. If you type O, you get an OH. If you type Shift and type the O key, get back, I didn't hover quite on the single bond, you get an acid group, which is useful. If you come to the next one and type nitrogen, if you hold the Shift key, you get a nitro group, but if you just click on nitrogen itself N on your keypad, you get the NH2 group. I drew another ring to work on to show you some more atoms that you can put in. So I'll hover over this one. This time I'll type B, and you get bromine. If you hold the Shift key while you type B, you get boron. The next one would be iodine. So another common one. Let's see what happens if you hold the Shift key and do iodine. There's nothing assigned for that. Just two more. Fluorine. If you hold the Shift key and click on F on your keypad, you get a CF3 group. And the last one, I think that is all of them. I just couldn't find a common list anywhere. I'm sure they have a list somewhere within their documentation, but I just could not find them. Now I want to show you how to add an atom that's not defined by a hotkey. So we'll go up, let's create a new working space. So I'll go to New and say Structure Document. And like all the programs within KnowItAll, when you do something new, it keeps the old one and it adds a new tab at the bottom to work. We'll go select the benzene tool here. Then we'll go and click on the single bond to make a point that we can add something. But this time, instead of using a hotkey, I want to add aluminum. So to do that, if you hover over the little thing that looks like oxygens with bonds on either side, that's the label tool. If you go click on it now, you'll see a little flashing bar, and that's where we can insert our user-defined elements. So I'll hold down the Shift key this time to get just a capital A. It means something different here. It's not trying to put in a hotkey atom. And then I'll let go of it, and I'll put in L to get aluminum. I'll hold the Shift key again to push C, which is not carbon this time, but I want to turn it into chlorine, so I let go of the Shift key, type L, and then I put a 2 subscript. And then I can go get off of it, and you can see now I have a structure for a phenyl with an aluminum chloride group hanging off of it. And you could do that for any of the specific elements that you wanted to do that are not hotkeys. Here is another structure. I wanted to show you how to use the fragmentation tool within the software. To do that, you have to change the menu. So I'm on the main menu that I use for most things. You come down to the bottom, and you go to the Edit menu. And on it, you'll see this little thing that says Mass Spec Fragmentation Tool. So I'll click on it, and now I can draw a bond through this or a line through it, and it shows you the two halves of the molecule with their formula and molecular weights noted. Now let's search this structure to see if we can find a mass spectrum for it. So let's go back to the main menu. So I'm going from this Edit menu back to the main. I'll go to my Selection tool and I'll box it in to select it. Now, like any of the programs, I go up to the Transfer To ribbon at the top and move over until I find Search It, which allows us to search by structure. I already had a structure there, so I just overwrote it into the page here. It's got structure selected, so we'll be doing a structure search. We have to go select our user select for the databases. And you can see I already have all the mass spec ones pulled down. If you didn't, you could go to the top and add the ones you wanted, but these are all of my mass spec databases. So we've got all that set up nicely. To get back to the top of that menu, you have to click on Structure, and it jumps you back to the top level. I want to do an exact match here, and so it's all set up, and we go to the bottom right of the screen and just type in Search. It searched all the databases and found many spectra for that in the database. You can just click through them. I just selected, went to the bottom, left clicked on the menu to highlight it. Now I can use the up and down arrows on my keypad to step through them and look at them. So there's several different ones in there, and you could compare the quality if you wanted to see the different ones. Now I want to go back and do a different type search. So as always with these programs, I go up to the top and it says Previous Application, or you can pull down the menu. So let's go back to where we came from. One more, and then we're back to our drawing program. So again, I will go to the arrow up here, select the structure. We'll go up to the Transfer ribbon again at the top up here and click on Search It. It says the structure is already loaded, so let's just override it instead of creating another one. And this time, we'll do a substructure search. Let's make sure our libraries are still set up properly. They are. So let's go back up a level. Remember, we have to click on Structure to get back to the top menu. And now let's do a similarity search. That's the other one that I like. The substructure, I'm sure if you knew how to use it, it could be very powerful, but I don't know that much about it, how to define elements and branching points, etc. So let's just do a similarity search, a Tanimoto, and it'll find similar compounds. We'll go down to the bottom again and say Search. Take a little longer this time because it's not looking for exact searches, but it's searching a lot of spectra. I'm not sure how many structures, but it's 1.2 million spectra that it's going through in the mass spec part of the program. Of course, you could search for NMR, infrared, and other things, and it found it just like it did before. I'm going to the bottom again, selecting the first hit to highlight it. Now I can step through it with the arrows on my keypad, the up and down arrows, and I'll just look at them. It found, again, a bunch of the same ones, but if you keep coming down to the bottom, you'll finally get to some different ones with a methyl group off of it, so it finds similar compounds. So those are the two basic searches that I know. If you go to the back one, you can see that there's a lot of them, and I really haven't looked through a lot of them, but I find those two the most useful so far. In conclusion, atom keys are defined for common elements or species in ChemWindow. When using them, the primary one is selected from the keypad, and a secondary one is selected with the same key when the Shift key is depressed. Special undefined elements can be added with the Label tool, and structures can be searched by a variety of approaches by exporting to Search It, and two common searches were demonstrated, exact and similar, which another name is the Tantomoto. Be sure to see my other videos for Mass Spec Know-It-All training on my personal website. Good day.